What's up, digital world? You're listening to the iDigress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
Here is the unfortunate truth of owning, starting, running, and growing a business. What people don't talk about enough on social media and many other forms of media that we consume to get us hyped up about entrepreneurship, hyped up about startups, hyped up about B2B and tech and SaaS and digital transformation and the metaverse and crypto and all the things is that business can cause severe stress, severe anxiety, can drain you of your mental, emotional, physical energy, and it's very challenging to scale. 70% of businesses will fail. I've literally stated this on the first line, the back cover of my book, Strategize Up. Now, most people see that as, well, that doesn't apply to me because my vision is unlike any other vision. My drive is unlike anybody else's drive. I have the audacity, I have the power, and I know exactly what I'm going to do, why I'm going to do it, and we're going to grow this business to astronomical proportions, and I'm going to be a billionaire over the next 10 years. That's great. Keep that same energy when you get knocked out. Not once, not twice, not on the 10th time, not on the 100th time. Running a business, growing a business, starting a business, maintaining a business is incredibly difficult, is incredibly challenging. And not many people can do it. Sure, everyone, when they go to the starting point and you hear the gun goes off, they all have the ambition, the drive, the power, all the things of the components necessary to believe that they're going to win the race. But as time goes on, your lungs get heavy, you get tired, and you don't know how much you have in the reserves. That's when you see who really keeps that same energy under pressure, under anxiety, under stress. When they don't feel like they can go no more, when they can't see themselves going anymore, when they don't hear any more chants, when they are in their own subconscious level of thoughts, it's me, myself, and I, and all three of us are fighting against our own self, telling us we can't go no further. Are you going to go further, or are you going to throw in the towel? Are you going to stop? Are you going to say, that's enough? If you're looking for a new podcast, the Female Startup Club shares tips, tactics, and strategies from the world's most successful female founders, entrepreneurs, and women in business to inspire you to take action and get what you want out of your career. The Female Startup Club, hosted by Dune Roisin, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. Now, you know how much I love breaking down the barriers and walls to have very diverse conversations in the podcast space. And the Female Startup Club does just that. Dune interviews various dynamic individuals to give you the insight, the knowledge, and information you need to be a better business person yourself. Some episodes that come to mind are the 5 steps to building an impactful community in 2022 with tips from ex-Glossier community lead Kim Johnson, 6 quick questions with Amy Yang, founder of Better Brand and The Better Bagel, interviewing people like Sarah Pajiu, founder and CEO of Blueland, and so many others. Listen to the Female Startup Club wherever you get your podcasts. I've said this too many times on iDigress. The vision you have is your vision. Nobody else has that vision but you. Nobody else is going to understand the complexities, the emotional ties, or any such thing better than you, because that vision was meant for you. I've shared this story before. I remember distinctively coming home from the polar vortex from New York City in 2019, right on my birthday, and telling my wife, looking her dead in the eyes and saying, you know what? I'm going to start doing public speaking. August of 2020, I distinctively remember saying, you know what? I want to start a podcast. And I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to interweave different identities of myself and be unapologetically me. I distinctively remember when I identified that Find Troy was not a brand, it was a username, and I allowed people to keep me in this perplexed box that was not serving me. I was in various spaces that was not elevating me, amplifying me, and kept me restrained and made me a tokenized commodity. So I left. I made the decision. I need to scale. I need to position and discover who I am in this business world, what I am best suited for, and how I can rise to the occasion to make the greatest impact doing my God-given abilities and talents to serve those who I can serve, to make their businesses better, greater, so they can make their bigger impact and feel like I'm doing something worth of value. So the Find Troy Marketing Solutions LLC was no more. Strategy hackers became a thing, and I took on the moniker of the strategy hacker, and things changed. Yes, Find Troy is still my username all over the internet. Yes, findtroy.com is still my core website. Go to there to find all the things about me and see where I am, how I do things, my magic sauce, all the superpowers, blah, 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 blah. But once I made these changes, I didn't get praise. Nobody didn't see the vision. Why would you give up what people know you for? And I had to challenge my own self. Get out of your own comfort zone. It's time to leave. Now, I am rooted in faith. I am rooted in community. I am part of a marginalized community. I'm a Black business. I'm a Black creator. Clearly, I'm a Black podcaster. I'm a Black speaker. I'm a all Black everything. I didn't see, I didn't hear, I didn't feel many who could take the depths of growth and marketing and business and strategy and sales and community and social media and all the things and articulate in a way that would identify with examples and use cases and language for me. So I took that burden and said, why not me? Many times we're waiting for somebody else to make the thing, do the thing, say the thing that we ourselves needed to hear, see, and have as a reference, as a guide, as an example for us to do what we need to do. And many times we can get bitter. We can get bitter of not having access and going through the fire and climbing up the hard side of the mountain. And maybe we came on the other side and we still were deemed by the world successful. That doesn't mean I have to put my brothers and my sisters, I have to put my community to go through that same exact path as the only way to get successful because no one was there for me. How about we change the generational issues here and create a bridge for other people to have less struggles so they can go further than what you did? That was the intent and purpose of this podcast. That was the intent and purpose. Now, people may see now and be like, wow, this is amazing. But let me tell you, it's hard and it's challenging. September 28th, 2020 to February 28th, 2022, 200,000 downloads, part of the HubSpot podcast network. I've made various ad opportunities. I've made other business opportunities directly from speaking into this mic, doing it the way that I set up to do consistently to the best of my abilities. Was it challenging? Yes. Was it difficult? Yes. Is it still hard? Yes. Does it get easier? Maybe. But I'm here. I've shared all this to say that it's one thing when you talk the rags to riches jargon and all those things. And I typically try not to do that because I myself, when I got started in doing this podcast, it's not like I knew what I was going to become. I didn't know what was going to happen. And to me, in my mind, I still have a long way to go. So the vision I have for this podcast is much deeper, it's much bigger, it's much wider, it's much broader than maybe other people may even realize. But I have to stop and celebrate the wins, and so do you. The reality is growth is uncomfortable. Business is very challenging. And whatever you put your mind to do is going to beat you up a little bit. And you are going to find out, is that energy still there? Is that energy still there? When the cheers stop happening as you're running this marathon, when you feel the adrenaline wearing off, when you feel tired, if you really want something, there's going to come a period of time where you do not feel like it, but you're going to do it anyway. You are going to put in the work anyway. The thing is, people will always talk about you. They will always compare you to others. If you really want to scale a business, there's a sacrifice somewhere. I always like to say this. When you want to start something new, you have to prepare a space so that success can bloom from that space. Many times when you're trying to scale an agency, scale a business, grow, do you ever make sure that you have the right space to do so? And I don't mean the physical brick and mortar. I mean the right space within yourself, within your ecosystem, so that you can focus on building this thing. Because there's going to be sprints and seasons and moments and years and time committed to just being in the trenches and you're building. You're in silence and you're building. You're in silence and you're networking. You're in silence and you're drafting, you're branding, you're modifying the copy, you're modifying the designs, you're modifying the service outputs and outcomes. You're looking at your audience profiles and your avatars. You're studying the audience. You're studying the trends. You're studying how culture interweaves within the product or the service, the need, the why, the how, the demand, the price, the infrastructure, going from RevOps to growth development to product development and design to make sure that when it is released, or to make sure when certain people start buying, or to make sure you have enough capacity that when things blow up, you got this. There's seasons where you're in silence and you're making the sacrifices. I'm recording right now. I'm trying to be committed. Podcasting is hard. I did not feel like recording today. That doesn't mean that I didn't want to record. That doesn't mean I didn't want to share some gems or share a thought for you all my listeners who I appreciate and value so much and have in such high regard is why I keep showing up the way that I do. The most consistent medium I have ever done in my entire professional career. Period. I have never created a medium this consistent as consistently as I could until this podcast. And so I thank you for motivating me. So as I push this content out, you're listening, you're sharing, you're mentioning, could you use a few more reviews? If you leave me a review, I really appreciate it. But I appreciate every single listener, every single download, every single mention, every single share, because I remember when I had nothing. I started this podcast and I had 3 downloads. 3. I was nothing. I digress. It's spelled weird. Why do you call it I digress? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't belong in a marketing business podcast. You're going to talk about strategy. You're not going to interview anybody from the start. Troy, no one knows who you are. You talk too fast. You don't sound like a business marketing podcast. Maybe you should talk about sports, Troy. I don't know if you fit into this business marketing theme. You don't talk the way. You don't have a polished look. Maybe you don't belong here. And all I kept thinking about when I got my first job out of college in 2014 to work for a global contract manufacturer as their first marketer ever. And I was one of probably 2 or 3 black individuals in the entire organization, at least in the executive side of things. And I'm like, how do I do this? Where do I go? I didn't see or hear or find too many of people who I could reference as my own identity to make it make sense for me. So fast forward to when I launched 6 years later. Didn't matter what anybody else thought or said. This is what I would have wanted when I started 6 years ago. Someone to just keep it real, make it lively, keep my attention, challenge me, incorporate some of the culture, and don't desensitize it, don't code switch it, just keep it real. And if they can handle it, they can handle it. If they can't, they can't. But I want you to speak to me about marketing, make it make sense for me. I may not be the best marketer, or I don't even know anything about marketing, but I want to grow my business. And I have identified that marketing and sales and strategy are absolutely necessary to my abundance and growth of my business so I can take care of my family, so I can help my community. Whatever the dream might be for the community, the impact that you're trying to make, it all starts with you having a successful business. And to have a successful business, you need to master marketing and strategy and sales and all the things that I talked about all this time. But it's not that you have to be an expert. You have to be good enough while still maintaining the passion of what you were meant to do on this earth. Whatever your skill set, whatever your business is, people are missing the point. I'm not doing this podcast for myself. I'm doing this to leave a legacy and help those coming behind me, help those who don't have the time to study marketing and strategy and trends all day long like I do. This is my life. This is what I have discovered I am built for. This is what I have discovered I am meant to do. I was put on this earth to do, to have the passion and drive and all the different life experiences, all the different work experiences, all the different industries and spaces I have worked for and worked with. Too many things I can't even share because of NDAs, but I can tell you I've done it. I've been in those rooms. But I'm trying to give back to my community. I'm trying to help somebody. That's my why. Troy, you talking about business and you talking about faith. Yes, for people in my community, most of us are rooted in some type of faith. And even if you're not religious, there is some type of ideology that faith of itself is just a mental psyche of you understanding how to dig deep beyond the feeling of fear. so you can succeed. And whether you do yoga or you go to church or you listen to all these top-notch thought leaders, coaches, whatever you need to do, nevertheless, it's going to be something you have to do to keep your mind in check. And for many in the Black community, if I can be real, a lot of it's rooted around some type of church identity, some type of faith, some type of community rooted in support groups for you to always have someone that when you call on them or show up at their house or at an organization, they can pray for you or talk to you or whatever it is that you seek, that you need to reset your mind to get you back on track. It's kind of like you making those laps in NASCAR and you got to come in for a pit stop. I need to come in for a pit stop. Y'all need to refuel me, change my tires, check my oil, make sure I'm good, give me some water, and get me back out there. So no, I will not stop being who I am. That's what I've made a commitment to do, to be who I am. The business that provides the best service wins. So how does a HubSpot CRM platform help you scale your service? Team email, conversation routing, and the HubSpot mobile app. Connect team-wide email addresses to your shared inbox. Turn incoming emails into tickets or send them straight into your shared inbox. No more questions slipping through the cracks. Conversation routing. Automatically assign incoming customer chats and emails to the right member of your team for seamless service at the right time. Work from anywhere with the HubSpot mobile app. Highlights include business, card scanning, caller ID, and more, and it is available for iOS and Android. Look, it's all about being better connected in a seamless way so you can provide customer service like never before. The HubSpot CRM platform helps you do that and more. Learn how to grow better by connecting your people, your customers, and your business at HubSpot.com. We talk all the time how so many odds against you, and it's true. It's an absolute truth that most people who start will not finish. They will fail. Their resolve wasn't big enough, or they had too many obstacles and challenges. They didn't keep the momentum going. They made the wrong moves. They made the wrong decisions. They didn't invest enough in marketing, and they maxed out of the niche, and they didn't have no more money or abundance or audience to go get other folks. There's so many ways people have failed in business professionally. That doesn't mean it has to be you. But you have to understand all the different components to a successful business and understand that successful business requires sacrifice. It is time to make changes, identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and make changes and strategies to address all of them. You see the vision, you answer the call, but it doesn't mean nothing if you don't finish. It doesn't mean anything if you don't finish. So I don't feel like recording it today, but I needed to record today. For those who know me knows I am deeply in tune with my emotions, and typically how I feel, how I come across this mic is probably how I'm feeling internally on the inside. If I'm trying to encourage myself, maybe I'm feeling discouraged. If I'm feeling challenges, maybe I'm going to talk about those challenges. If I had a good day, I'm about to send some positive vibes your way. That's just me. Not everybody's like me, and after a while, I realized I can only be Troy Sandidge, and you can only be you. It's much easier to be yourself and present yourself as your best self than to try to be like somebody else that is not your true self. Because sometimes it gets very hard to maintain that someone that isn't you. So the best way to build your business, establish your brand, your messaging, your tone, is to make it in alignment with who you are at your core. That way you can be consistently showing up as yourself at all times. But Troy, what does it got to do with business? What does it got to do with me? It has everything to do with you. Positioning, branding, messaging, tone of voice, how you present yourself, who you attract. I don't got time to lie, or cat, or make you think I'm bigger than who I am. I'm going to keep it real and tell you where I'm at. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. These are my goals. This is my timeline to get there. And can you help me or can you not? Disqualify aggressively. I'm here to make friends, but I'm not going to chase those who may not want to be my friend. I'm here to do business, but I'm not here to chase everybody who may not even want to do business. I'm not going to be obsessed over everyone who didn't want to work with the strategy hacker because I'm too busy focusing on those who do. The numbers, I'm constantly aware. You have the highest chance to fail. But what if I don't? What if I continue down the course, continue the race, and I win? and I become successful. And that success is a constant catalyst of me chasing the next level of success. And each time I do, that means another business is successful. That means another community gets more support. That means someone else gets inspired to go further than what little old Troy could do 20 years ago. It's probably going to go 10 times farther than when Troy ends his professional career. We have to understand that we're all interlinked. And your drive to pursue the vision that has been given to you, whether you want to attribute that to God or the universe or fate, and you pursue that vision wholeheartedly with a sense of passion and power, but also a sense of logic and understanding and strategy, and you're incorporating marketing and business and all the different logics and understanding to make it work, and you keep showing up being consistent, ask for help if you need to ask for help, and keep going strong. This ain't no joke. Don't matter if you're B2B, B2C, SMB, startup, legacy, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, Inc. 5000. No one has heard of you yet. You haven't even started the LLC yet. Doesn't matter. It's all hard. It's hard to start. It's hard to maintain. It's hard to scale. It's hard to grow. Everything's hard. Your resolve, your passion, your power, your need, your want, your desire has to go beyond that. Even when you just don't feel like it. This is another strategy accelerator brought to you by Agency Accelerated Podcast with Stephanie Liu, powered by Agorapulse.
In your book, Networking in the 21st Century, you said that LinkedIn is a tool. It's not a magic pill. What did you mean by that?
Well, it's so easy, I think, in our highly technical and digitized modern sales world to think that the key, the secret to getting the sales we want, getting the revenue we want, lies in the platform that's just over the horizon. And let's face it, a lot of providers of those platforms would love to have us think that, right? They're trying to get their sales too. But the reality is, LinkedIn, for example, is an amazing social networking platform to connect with the prospects, the clients, the partners, the employees, the employers that we want to, but we still have to use that tool. It's kind of like a hammer. You can't just give somebody a hammer and say, go build me a palace. You have to say, okay, here's a hammer. Let me show you how to use that hammer, and then use that as a means to an end. And I think that we're still in the process, even though we're almost 20 years into the existence of LinkedIn, of people realizing, oh, it's not going to do the work for me. I still have to put in the effort.
I often think about, like, here in my neighborhood, there's houses for sale. And there's something that you could do where you could just put up the sign and say houses for sale and hope that people swing by, they'll pass by, they'll get a brochure and all that other stuff. But you still have to leverage different channels to get that foot traffic. You said that LinkedIn has been around for 20 years. I was like, really? Wow.
I think we're at I think it's 18. So we're almost there. It's crazy.
Oh goodness. LinkedIn is almost old enough to get a drink. So
And if you want to learn more about that episode, search Agency Accelerated Agorapulse wherever you get your podcast, or Agency Accelerated Agorapulse on YouTube to see the live video version of the podcast. As I'm thinking about the next episodes of iDigress, the next wave of where this podcast is going to go, I'm excited. But you know what? If I could be real with y'all, I'm also terrified. I'm terrified that I'm not going to live up to the standard as maybe the podcast gets more successful, as maybe more people download it and are aware of the podcast, as maybe more people feel the vibe, they know the vibe, they expect a certain standard of deliverable of a podcast episode from me. And that somewhat terrifies me. When you don't have a lot of folk looking at you, when you don't have a lot of folk acknowledging you, when you don't start getting awards and, numbers and all these different things, you can kind of fly under the radar. But the more and more you're in the spotlight and you're not behind the curtain no more, the more every move you make, every word you say, everything you do is under a microscope. And you have to be able to still move anyway with confidence and conviction and not fall from the wayside. Everybody wants to grow and scale. Everybody wants a business. Everybody wants the high level stuff of business. I want a successful podcast. I want a successful Twitter account with the blue check. I want to have a successful YouTube account. I want to have all these different things, but they forget the word that goes with success. Sacrifice. They forget the word that goes with scaling. Sacrifice. It requires you to make sacrifices. And that's why I said it's incredibly important that when you're trying to scale, when you're trying to grow, you make sure you have the right space. My wife has been my rock. She's been my supporter. Even when maybe she didn't have the vision that I had, she still allowed me to pursue that vision. She still allows me the space to record. She still supports me. We constantly are in communication of this vision. You're going to do public speaking. You're going to grow this business called Strategy Hackers. You're going to niche down on growth marketing strategy and pitch it to celebrities and B2B companies and SaaS and tech startups and all the different things. You're going to do all of these things. And that's going to take care of us. That's going to create the foundation of the life that we want to live. And I said, yeah, that's my intention. That's my goal. She understands the long hours. She understands the networking and the conversations. And that gives me so much more power because when my space supports me, my mom and my dad I call them my brand warriors. They will consume anything that I put out there in the world and will tell me, hey, this wasn't like you, or this was great. I love how you delivered this. Make sure you do this a little bit better. I mean, have the space. Without the right space around you, you are almost destined to fail because you can't do it alone. You need infrastructure. You need key individuals, what I would call, maybe you don't have a full board room of investors and an executive team, but you can put different family and friends and trusted individuals in those capacities in your mind to create that dynamic space for you to go thrive and go get yours. And when you tie that in with your vision, that's why everyone makes fun of my clover. We are so sick of your clover. Clarity, leverage, optimization, vision and value, execution and results. But hey, when you need to get in the deeper stuff and you don't feel like it no more, remind yourself what your goal was. Create that vision of what that goal represents to you. Leverage those around you to help you deliver and execute. Optimize if you're feeling burnt out. Maybe you got to hire someone or make a shift or pivot. Make sure that you're receiving enough value back as you're giving value. Even if you don't feel like you still got to execute, you still got to go do it. Growth requires action, and without action, nothing can become, nothing can be created, and we still need to get results. If it's not working, if it's not getting results, you pause, swerve. What am I doing now? What can I do differently? Realign with your clarity of what your vision is. People think I'm messing around. People think I'm playing. People think how I deliver things is cute and cuddly and all this stuff, but guess what? It works. And I say it in a way that for those who are not deep into the marketing jargon, the sales jargon, whose life story isn't in sales and marketing, who is for the SMB, the mom and pop shop, the creator, the side hustler, all the different things, who don't put all their time, energy, and life into these books and all the things because they don't have the time to, it makes sense to them. And it can still make sense to the executive of a Fortune 500 company as well. They can apply it to their team and keep it moving as well. Simplicity has no judgment. Simplicity is all about making it simple. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. As long as we all can understand what we need to do to get to where we need to go and grow our business, scale our business to create the life that we want to live so that way we can have happiness, so that we can be fulfilled, so that we can feel like we made an impact on the world. Why not? Yes, there's a high chance your business could fail. Your idea could fail. But the ability to still seek and pursue what's next, even when failure is in sight or even when failure happens. That doesn't mean you're a failure. That means you got to do something else. We realign, what do we need, and we keep moving forward. Success requires sacrifice. Success requires you to make space. Success requires you to have resolve and patience and poise. And also success requires you to ask for help. Because no one on this planet became successful by themselves. Nobody. We're in this together. There's room for all of us in the sky to fly. So let's all make room, spread our wings, and help each other reach to new heights. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of iDigress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.